Tristan, thoughts on seeing Hundreds of Beavers live with a crown? No, Harley, thoughts on Hundreds of Beavers?
It was great. That's it.
That's it.
It's a hard ticket at the movies.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Hard Ticket, the podcast. I'm your host, Jeffrey Bogus.
It is that, the podcast.
Who are you?
Oh, I'm Tristan Moore. Yeah, hey, what's up?
And we have a very special guest joining us today. Say hi, special guest.
Hi, special guest. My name is Josh Brown. Gracious, very glad to be here.
Oh, well, we're happy to have you. Josh is here today to help us talk about a different kind of movie that we're covering, which is sort of a very performative, intensive kind of movie. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of ourselves because this happens to us a lot. We get invited out to see a double feature. We go to the theater and we find that two movies are playing at the exact same time. This week, 3 movies, but 2 of them playing sort of as a double feature. So there is a double feature. I know it's a little confusing, but one of them is like 45 minutes. And then, look, okay, let's just
we actually do get a double feature this week, but there's also still a movie playing at the same time next door. So
we can choose a double feature still if we want, but it's not quite what we expected it to be. Let's just go ahead away with the options. Option number A starts with the Buster Keaton classic Sherlock Jr., 45-minute silent slapstick movie released in 1924, where Keaton plays a guy who works at a theater, a projectionist who's kind of daydreaming that he's a crime solver. And typical to Buster Keaton movies, wacky shenanigans ensue, and everybody has a good time. But that's not the only Buster Keaton movie playing, because right after, in the same film block, quote unquote, also a part of option number A, we'll call it A.5.
There we go.
Is another movie, which I will let Tristan introduce.
Yeah, option number 8.5 is The General. 1926, The General. It's directed by Buster Keaton and Clyde Bruckman. Mm-hmm. It stars Buster Keaton as a Southern train engineer at the start of the American Civil War. So it's a period film, takes place in, I think, 1861. The Civil War historian nerds are going to have to fact check me on that.
It's true.
Perfect. And so he is in love with this woman who is eager for him to join the war. She wants him to be in uniform because that's chivalrous and, all the Southern pride and all that stuff. He tries to enlist. They deny him because he's too short. Because he's a train engineer. So anyways, he ends up getting involved in a train heist perpetuated by the Union Army. And what
those bastards,
those goddamn Union soldiers. Yeah, we definitely got to talk about that later. Anyways, it's a big train chase, and a train goes off the rails literally, and it's a lot of fun. It's a feature length movie. And next we have option number B. Yes.
Option number B. Well, I'm glad to come in here with this one, folks. Option number B this week is Hundreds of Beavers, directed by Mr. Mike Cheslick of 2022 fame, possibly Thousands of Beavers as well. So this stars a gentleman named Ryland Brixton Cole, who is playing the role of Gene Kayak, who's a drunken Applejack salesman who must go from zero to hero and become North America's greatest fur trapper.
Are you reading this?
This is the Hercules.
No,
This is
never.
the Hercules, bio.
Why would I read this straight off of Letterboxd? Never. But he's got to become North America's greatest fur trapper by defeating hundreds, possibly thousands of beavers. And much like the other two, or I guess other option,
The Block.
parenthesis, at the block. We'll refer to it as the Block from now on. Absolute chaos ensues, but I feel like this is definite absolute chaos compared to the rumblings that go on in the two Buster Keaton flicks.
Right, yeah. So between your two options here, you can choose a classic black and white silent slapstick movie starring a legend of the industry, or you can choose a modern
Black and white.
experimental indie that takes heavy inspiration from those two movies and many other silent movies. This is our matchup today. Hundreds of Beavers has been sweeping the nation over the past couple years. It has had sort of sleeper success on the indie circuit. The creators took it on tour in 2024, I believe, just hitting theaters across the country in a very unconventional self-distribution deal. And it has a rabid cult following, and it is acclaimed by pretty much every metric. It's got a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's got a 4.1 on Letterboxd. People are loving this movie, and on a $150,000 budget, it's made over $1 million, which is pretty damn profitable by every metric. So that's kind of why we decided to put it up against some pretty big entries from the 1920s. I mean, two films that are respectively 99 and 101 years old. This is new versus old.
Yeah, Hundreds of Beavers isn't your grandfather's silent film, because your grandfather's silent film was probably actually your great grandfather's silent film. These are old movies, and we should mention too that we saw Hundreds of Beavers on 35 millimeter film up here in Pittsburgh, the Steel City.
Right. We're coming off the heels of a live showing last week, which was, I know, the second time that Tristan and I have watched the movie. We did watch it last year at the recommendation of our friend Dallas, a previous guest star on our Man It Begins episode. Josh, had you seen this movie before?
So actually, yeah, I watched it in a pretty different fashion as well, holed up in my apartment. I watched it in two halves, actually, which I think is going to become part of the discussion later on to see how that carried over into this second viewing. But yeah, it's very much my wheelhouse, for sure.
Yeah, Josh is a thespian of sorts.
Shush.
He's a stage actor, and he lives for the craft. He's a performer and entertainer at heart.
Oh,
Come on, don't be humble.
I teach social studies, Jeffrey.
Yeah, well, you were also the dentist last year on a production of Little Shop of Horrors. So
Yeah, thank you. Great plug. Great plugs, folks.
But I, in terms of the options we have today, had not seen any Buster Keaton movies before this past week, which I think, Tristan, this matchup was your idea, because I know you've been taking your journey through the decades of film over the past few years, and you started pretty early and watched some really early ones. So had you seen The General and Sherlock Jr. before?
Yeah, I'd seen both actually around the same time in 2022, February and March. So it's been a couple of years. Since then, I have taken a little detour into film history, starting in like the 1880s, and I'm now in the 1930s. But I spent a long couple of months in the 1920s watching a lot of silent films and kind of cultivating a love for them. So I'm kind of curious if you all, Josh, first of all, had you seen these two films?
So I have only seen two Buster Keaton films prior to this week, and it was The General and Sherlock Jr. Actually, just how it worked out.
Wow.
The General I watched about 2 years ago for this podcast I was listening to, and the Sherlock Jr. I finally watched around New Year's this time, just because I needed something short. It was in my watch list, and it's like available everywhere.
Yeah, it's public domain now, so
Yeah.
no one has any excuses. They can just find it on YouTube. So besides those two Buster Keaton films, are you generally a fan of silent film?
I am. I'm definitely a fan of the Chaplin stuff. I'm going to sound terrible for this. Who is the third guy? Harold
Lloyd.
Harold Lloyd. I haven't seen anything by Lloyd, but with the Chaplin stuff, I've been watching a lot more of The Gold Rush, The Circus. I got my nephew watching Modern Times a couple weeks ago.
Nice.
To put him to bed, and it worked. Like the kid loved it, but tired him out quick. And of course, like Great Dictator, stuff like that. But no, these are my only Keaton adventures that I've had so far.
Awesome. Yeah, I think my first Chaplin was The Great Dictator, ironically, which is he speaks at the end of that, but that's fine. Jeff, what about you? How familiar are you with like silent cinema?
Not a whole lot, I mean, I've seen, there have been a couple of like modern takes, like, The Artist back in 2011, which is kind of a contentious movie. A lot of people call it like a style over substance kind of thing. In terms of like the classic great silent performers, I've seen City Lights with Charlie Chaplin. And that's really about it. I mean, I've seen Metropolis. I'm trying to think of any other like feature length silent films I've seen. I know there's a couple that I'm just blanking on right now, but
Nosferatu maybe?
Yeah,
or something
Nosferatu.
like that.
No, I've never seen the original Nosferatu. Ooh. Way to call me out. I really appreciate it. I saw the Robert Eggers one last year.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, look at you.
Definitively not silent.
I watched Vampire's Kiss, with it has Nosferatu in it.
That's true. You've seen the SpongeBob episode where Nosferatu shows up.
It's a really fun genre to play around with, though. I mean, I've seen a lot of people kind of like make jokes and stuff, but you really don't get people who are trying to recreate feature-length projects like this. That's why Hundreds of Beavers feels really special, and I think is gaining a lot of traction because it's really embracing, a lot of classic slapstick that's kind of been left behind, but also putting a very modern twist on it, with some pretty juvenile humor at times. But it's also just like such a labor of love at the same time. Like you can tell these guys love movies.
Oh yeah. It definitely feels like an homage to the classic silent era. Like you said, though, with a modern twist, because there's an homage to lots of things in this movie. There's some Looney Tunes antics. Yeah. It's very cartoonish. It feels a lot like a video game. There's like a video game logic to Hundreds of Beavers. We should also mention that Hundreds of Beavers isn't like a true silent film. Right. There are sound effects. Occasionally, very occasionally, someone speaks or... and not so unoccasionally someone is screaming. There's lots of screaming in this movie. So it's not a true silent film, but it is very much like in the vein. It's sort of updating it for a modern audience. It's one of those things that you say silent movie and people, their eyes kind of roll back in their heads and they start to kind of fall asleep, nod off a little bit. But Hundreds of Beavers is like one of those movies you could show to anyone of any sort of like caliber of film fan, and I think that they would enjoy it. I've showed this movie to tons of people, and everybody thinks it's just so funny and so fresh and so strange because it's it has a certain aesthetic to it that's like I think it was all the effects are done in After Effects, Adobe, and so there's like a cheapness to it that adds to its charm.
Right. Which is, I think, kind of funny and almost like in a microcosm speaks a lot to the progression of film in general and how everything is very VFX heavy, whereas all of the stuff that we see Keaton doing in his films is so many practical stunts.
Yeah.
So there's an interesting contrast there where Hundreds of Beavers is compositing so much stuff, literally using Shutterstock images for some of its effects, whereas Buster Keaton is literally breaking his neck in his movies.
Yeah, in Sherlock Jr., Buster Keaton was hanging off one of those, like, I don't even know what those things are. It's like a spout that like drains water into a train, and he fell off of it. I mean, it was a stunt on purpose, but he fell off and the water hit him so hard that he fell onto the train tracks below, fractured his neck, and didn't know about it for 9 years. He had like migraines for years after the movie. So he broke his neck for his craft.
And he kept filming that day.
And he kept filming. Yeah, they didn't use that take because I think he blacked out. But I mean, it's incredible. It's really incredible. I think you're talking about like VFX heavy stuff, and having watched like some of the early like in the 1880s, 1890s into like the 1900s, you have like filmmakers like Lumiere who like pops out, who is like Méliès. I'm thinking of the Lumiere brothers and Méliès combining them together.
Right, yeah.
You have,
of course, common knowledge.
You have Méliès who like comes forward, and people probably are a little bit familiar with Méliès because if you've ever seen the image of like a person's face in the moon with like a rocket like shot into it, that's from the Voyage to the Moon, which was a very VFX heavy short film inspired, I think, by Jules Verne.
Yeah.
So you have this like you have this legacy of VFX. Like that's sort of what sets film apart from a lot of other media at the time, is that you can edit and you can frame things and you can do all these funky tricks where you do double exposures and you splice the screen and everything. Like, it's really interesting. And Buster Keaton employs a lot of those effects in especially Sherlock Jr.
Oh yeah.
Because the whole premise of Sherlock Jr. is, he's a projectionist who yearns to be the next Sherlock Holmes, and he gets basically framed for stealing the watch of the young ingenue that he's trying to court. And while in the projection booth, he dozes off while watching a film which is kind of reflecting the reality that he's in. And his it's like that SpongeBob episode where he dreams and he starts going into other people's dreams. Basically, his like becomes disembodied and he walks into the theater screen. And this really, one of like the coolest just like images of the silent era. It's Buster Keaton walking into another screen. So it's a movie within a movie, which is always fun.
Yeah.
It's VFX driven. He walks into the movie. We were joking because there's a couple cuts where he's like on a park bench, and then he's on he's in the desert, and he's like on a mountain and everything. It's like it's an experimental film, right? Like they're just showing vistas, but they keep cutting.
Sequencing.
There's no sequencing. There's no actual like narrative going on. But Keaton is within each frame, and he is locked into each like position that he was in each frame. So there's all kinds of gags to be had with that. Like in one moment he's sitting on a park bench, and the next moment he's in the desert and falls down because he was just a moment ago sitting on a park bench. Yeah. So there's lots of fun that he's having with like the medium of film, and using it to sort of propel the narrative of Sherlock Jr., which is that he finds out that he was framed and he's actually innocent, and all kinds of gags to be had from there. So obviously, Hundreds of Beavers, VFX driven, like it is very much indebted to Keaton and early filmmakers.
Yeah, and there's a contrast happening too, where like all of the like on location shooting that's happening in Buster Keaton's movies is like so impressive, but it's also before, talkies and the rise of the studio system in Hollywood, where like there's for decades, every time I'm watching a movie, I'm like, they're trying to make this look real, but it's in a studio or it's on a lot in Hollywood and it's fake. But then you get Keaton, who's like, actually like the camera is moving with him. It's a 35 millimeter camera. And especially in The General, when they go out to a real railroad and they drive real trains, and it's like so many shots where my mouth is just kind of like hanging open. Like, how the hell did they do this? Culminating in like the most expensive shot ever recorded in the silent era, where a train falls off the tracks and explodes, and there were thousands of extras in the town where they shot it that just gathered that day to watch, because it's incredible. But it also ballooned the budget, and Keaton got in trouble. All these things where Keaton was like such a auteur. He's just like,
he was an auteur. He was a maverick. He was. We have Tom Cruise nowadays, our Maverick, our modern day Maverick, who is very much like a stunt heavy guy. All the Mission Impossible movies. Did he learn to fly a fighter jet for the new Top Gun? Is that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Which is cool. I'll give him that. But Buster Keaton, he started all that. I mean, that was he did all of his stunts. He was a 5'5" vaudeville child actor. So he had lots of experience with it. He never skimped on anything, and he literally broke his neck for his craft. He also happens to be a really compelling, dramatic performer, I feel like. Even though he maintains this sort of like stony disposition, they called him the Great Stone Face because he always has this look on his face. It's like somewhere between like understanding and bemusement, where he just looks like like he doesn't actually know what's going on. And Josh, as a thespian, I feel like you can weigh in a little bit on Keaton's performance as a dramatic performer and not just a stunt performer. Do you feel like it's compelling? Do you feel like it holds up?
So his dramatic parts, I feel, just play. It's almost like, I don't even know how to explain it. The man plays it so seriously, which only makes it funnier.
Yeah.
When a comedian's up there on stage laughing at their own jokes, you're like, okay, you're not that funny. Just shut up. But when a comedian is up there and like they're acting as if they're stone cold serious about the stupidest of things, that just makes it even funnier. It's committing to the bit. And the man just seems to always be totally 1000% committed to the bit, to the point where, like, yeah, it's almost as if he sees this as a drama. Why is everybody laughing when I keep throwing pieces of wood and missing the train car entirely? There's a look that he gives when he's filling up the wood stove, and he looks back and there's no car there, and he just stares deadpan at the camera, looks away, looks back with the same face, and it got like the biggest laugh out of me, and the man didn't even move an eyebrow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's as good as it gets, man. I mean, he had, and it's definitely stems from, as you mentioned, those vaudevillian tactics that he learned from when he was a kid with his father's troupe and all that he just mastered, went above and beyond. And yeah, I think he like even said, if I wasn't an actor, I'd be a civic engineer. And you can definitely see that with the movies that he makes. Everything is just beautifully crafted, yet the man was also an improviser, which is why he worked so well outside of that studio system, because he could truly do whatever he wanted. And it worked for the most part. It absolutely works.
That's great. I never knew that he said that about being in it. That makes sense, though. There's an intricacy to like all of his movies, and he's so precise. His timing is impeccable.
Right.
He's very athletic, like everything he does in his stunts, like you have to be athletic. Apparently Buster Keaton was an amazing basketball player and could have gone pro. So I mean,
5'5".
5'5".
Isn't it baseball? They were playing baseball between takes on the General, right?
Oh,
yeah.
Was it baseball?
Wow.
It would make more sense.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty positive. I could double check that for you, but yeah, I mean,
I did find pictures of him playing baseball. Not a single one of him playing.
Oh, I thought he was a basketball guy.
I think they still used peach baskets.
That makes a lot more sense given the height thing.
Hey, I mean, Scottie Pippen, man.
it also.
Oh yeah,
pertains.
you're right. They did play baseball.
Hey,
we can just cut that out, right?
No.
But there's also like, with when he's talking about like the civil engineering and civic engineering, it's like there's a subtlety to his performance. Just you commented on the timing. I think a lot of people forget about the intricacies of silent performance because it's so animated, and he truly was a master. There are people who prefer Keaton. There are people who prefer Chaplin. Josh, I know you're more of a Chaplin guy.
I mean, it depends on what aspect. I love them both dearly. For the pure technicality of everything going into this, I would say Keaton like 1000%. But Chaplin's films are like Chaplin's, I would argue, carry that drama really well.
Right.
They're both like different sides of vaudeville. But Keaton never smiles, never like cries, just God damn, this day sucks. Like that's every Keaton movie. Whereas in Chaplin's like why, like sobbing or laughing or dancing his way while he like hits a guy in the groin with his cane and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And
he's
dances away.
he's a heartthrob kind of, and
Yeah.
he kind of winks a little toward the camera. I feel
He's like a trickster. Yeah, Chaplin's
Yeah.
much more of like a trickster, and Keaton's just like an everyman, somehow getting into the how did I get here sort of situation every day. But yeah.
Keaton contrasts so much with Twos as well, Ryland Brixton Cole Twos, who plays Jean Kayak, because he is doing basically the opposite thing. I mean, he is like being overly expressive, almost like a cartoon at every moment. He's like, and because it's not completely silent, he'll be going like, he'll just be giving you audio clues too with everything. And it works for the style of Hundreds of Beavers because it's a lot more absurd because of all of the compositing that I think is going on. But Buster Keaton is doing no less of a screwball. I mean, he is codifying the screwball that Hundreds of Beavers is taking, that Mike Cheslick is directly drawing from. And it's like, they're just having so much fun with it at the same time. Doing definitely like, if Chaplin is winking at the camera, then they are like taking the camera and turning it around at the audience and just kind of being like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's
Does
like
that
you're
make
on
sense?
pranked. Yeah, that makes a lot of
Yeah,
sense.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hundreds of Beavers is great because it does have a little bit more. It's almost supernatural, like what's going on in Hundreds of Beavers, because it's like so over the top, and like the general is based on a true story. It's based on an actual thing that happened during the Civil War. The Sherlock Jr. like it's like one moment of like, you know, supernaturalism is couched in a dream sequence. Hundreds of Beavers, no. This is a man. This is a man who's drinking Applejack with cutouts of people, and he's rolling down a hill on a giant barrel of Applejack, and it explodes and all this stuff. And there's hundreds of beavers building a ziggurat in the middle of Wisconsin. So it's super animated. It's super over the top, which I feel like is really refreshing in a modern day movie because there's so much like irony. Like we live in like such an irony poisoned culture that like to see something like Hundreds of Beavers that just goes all out for it and never like feels the need to make fun of itself. Like it just does what it does. Like it doesn't feel like there's anything more there. It's like a very straight, almost a hero's journey of Jean Kayak going from alcoholic businessman to fur trapper who commits a genocide, which is historically accurate.
I guess you're right.
Based on the real historical texts of pioneering.
Yes. Yeah, it's a
Getting drunk and
throwback.
killing
It's a
beavers.
throwback, but he does what he has to do.
And I think there's an aspect of it too where Josh and I both are aware of some people who very much dislike Hundreds of Beavers.
Absolutely.
And I think there's a generational thing to that. I think that the further away, we are 100 years away from the silent era at this point. And anytime somebody does dip their toes in the physical comedy, like a movie like Playtime, it's almost like for the film people, and it's almost not for the general audience, which is crazy because like I grew up on like Looney Tunes cartoons that do so much with the physical comedy stuff, and I think they hold up. I think there's an art to it, and I think there's an art to the animation specifically, but beyond that, like I think those to me feel timeless because that art form is still pure. But I think movies themselves have moved so far away from it that people will hail a comedy that's just all improv, no script, with like, shot reverse shot, no real filmmaking creativity put into it. And that's what this generation, I think, likes a little bit more. They're less interested in that aspect of the craft. I mean, you look at the movies that are getting a lot of money right now, whereas Hundreds of Beavers was made for $150,000 and a lot of love, and it shows. But
Yeah.
do you guys think, I mean, we don't see movies like this. They're anomalies.
Well, I mean, I definitely think there's a good point to be made there. Filmmaking, I mean, after the silent era ended, there's a period in the 1930s, especially where they're trying to basically reckon with the fact that they have this new technology, these giant microphones that they either have to hide in things or keep in one spot.
Right.
So that it really limits like the shots and everything. And filmmaking almost it's sort of stalled, like in terms of like the innovative techniques that were being developed, because film started as just a visual medium, and then suddenly now it's an audio visual medium. And you're talking about like nowadays people might prefer more of like jokey people talking and all that stuff. Shot reverse shot, which is not especially cinematic. Like the film language is not being expressed to its fullest in a modern film like that, where it's just shot reverse shot people talking. You can go to a play and see just as much. Yeah. So there's not anything inherently cinematic about it. So it sounds like maybe you're saying that there are some people who just like aren't as into like film as a medium who aren't going to be into something like this. Is that sort of what your point is?
I guess that's a little bit fair. Yeah, I do think there's an aspect of lost art to kind of what Hundreds of Beavers is trying to do. And, you know, it does put sort of a modern twist on it a little bit. And I think that might muddy the waters even more for somebody who's aware of older, like cut and dry black and white slapstick versus this new style that is doing intentionally hokey things, like not trying to superimpose in a hyper-realistic way. Just have fun with the medium in a postmodern way, in a meta way, you know?
Yeah, and a low budget way too.
And a low budget way. Yeah. Josh, thoughts?
So yeah, I guess the reason why I grimaced at first is because when you say like this generation, but now I get what you were trying to say. Now you're not trying to say
kids, man.
Yeah, they don't know what good filmmaking is, because like the whole thing on slapstick. The people that we know that hate this movie, though, of which we definitely know one or two, like let's be like those are film people. Like, I can't say that I've met a person that has seen this that isn't, well, one, isn't a film person, but also I kind of want to show it to, like, my grandma and see what she thinks. I mean, because, like, my parents and my uncle, people who show me all these movies, like, they think Billy Madison hitting first graders with a dodgeball as hard as he can is the funniest thing in the world. They think I'm going to put my balls on your drum set scene in Step Brothers is the funniest thing in the world. They think Paul Blart getting kicked by a horse in Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 is the funniest thing that they have ever seen. So I don't know if like slapstick isn't necessarily funny anymore. It's definitely become more juvenile. I still laugh at stuff like that.
Right.
I still laugh at Adam Sandler riding a golf club like it's a horse all around a green. But as you guys mentioned, like the way that they do it in Hundreds of Beavers is just something that we haven't seen in so long. What it's paying homage to with the Looney Tunes and the Keaton and the Chaplin. I think that's the thing that I don't want to say people are getting hung up on, because I think it's like a really, really fun thing to try, in that like there were kids at this showing in Pittsburgh,
right? Yeah,
where there were some jokes where it's like, whoa, but also like we're having the time of their lives. So I get what you're saying. I totally understand what you're saying now, Jeff. But originally, that's why I was like, I don't think it's a generational thing. I think it's just been a long time since we've had something like this. So now these people that are like, oh, well, I know what a good comedy is, and like physical comedy just isn't it. It's like, no, like they just haven't seen it.
I think the most common criticism I've heard against Hundreds of Beavers is that it drags in the middle. And I definitely know people who, like, because it's so rapid fire, it can be a fatiguing movie. This is a movie that I did show my parents. Like, I recommended it to them and they watched it and they really enjoyed it for like, I don't know, maybe half an hour. And then I think they started to get a little bit tired, but there's a big chunk in the middle that sets up how Jean is like figuring out all the cartoon logic of the wilderness. And like, it's a lot of earned, it's a lot of setup and payoff, But at the same time, this is almost 2 hours of nonstop comedy. And I think there's at certain points you might stop laughing, but then a really good joke comes up and then, hey, you're back in, like just like that, because it is so damn funny.
Yeah, I'd say I agree with that. I'm thinking back to like Sherlock Jr., which starts kind of quietly and it really ramps up. And that last like 10, 15 minutes of Sherlock Jr. is so madcap. It's so crazy.
Right.
And I mean, I think all three of us, we'd been making comments while watching the movie together. And then it gets to like that final bit and we're just all like, whoa, like, holy shit, how'd they do that? And then Hundreds of Beavers, while there is like a progression that's going on, like you're 100% right about like he's kind of figuring out like the video game, like logic. To me, it's more like a video game. He's very much just like, it's like a quest almost. There is that sort of like steady gradual build up until like the climax of that movie, which is also crazy. Like everybody was freaking out. I remember the first time I watched it and like the Voltron beaver thing, like blew my mind. Anyways, but there is still, like you're saying, the sustained comedic pace that is a little off-putting. I think that's why it's so fatiguing there in the middle, because it's nothing's going on, so much is going on, and it kind of needs a second to maybe step back, be a little less comedic maybe. If there's anything that I could kind of dock the movie points for, it's that maybe it is trying a little too hard. Maybe there is a little bit of that, like trying to endear itself to people. Do we need to see John Kayak fall into a million rabbit holes? Maybe just one last rabbit hole, and it would have worked. It would have worked. I remember the first time I watched it, and he kept falling in rabbit holes. I was like, "Is he gonna fall in rabbit holes the entire movie?"
Yes.
If you start to wonder that, you maybe just one less rabbit hole.
Right.
But yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I mean, I think that would be more of an issue than like a generational thing, because, and it's like Josh, you were saying, you were showing like Charlie Chaplin to you said nephew, right?
Yeah, he's like 5 years old.
Yeah, and it's like pratfalls and slapstick, all that stuff. It's universal because, film as a visual medium, like as long as you can see, you can enjoy it. It doesn't matter what age you are. I mean, there are certain gags that are going to be maybe a little sophisticated or go over the head of a, like a 2-year-old, but as long as you can see the funny guy making funny faces and falling down and, hitting people, like that's always going to be funny. And maybe that's why it's associated with like lowbrow stuff like Tom and Jerry and Looney Tunes and all that stuff. But I think if you are able to be in touch with your inner kid, and maybe that's the disconnect, you can be in touch with your inner kid, give the film a little bit of grace, get on its level. I feel like it definitely works. It works for me.
I would say this movie definitely works with a crowd, with a theater full of people seeing it in that element. Because like when I was saying earlier, like I absolutely actually agree with you guys on how tiring this movie can feel occasionally. Like first time I watched it, I realized like I was getting tired, and so I turned it off. Came back at it the next day, watched the second half, and I was like, this movie's perfect. I don't get what people are saying. And then I realized it's only because I watched it in 2 chunks. My uncle did the same thing. He goes, I had to turn it off. Because not that I thought it was bad, it's just like I was so overstimulated.
Yeah.
But then
this packs a lot.
Yeah. But then in this most recent time, seeing it in the theater, the glorious 35 millimeter and all that jazz, I was in its element. I could feel it like coursing through my veins, and I know other people in that theater felt it coursing through their veins as well.
Specifically, the person that we sat in front of, who was having the best time of his life.
He was squealing the whole time.
It wasn't even laughter. It was like
it made it better. I don't know what to say.
It's
like
just infectious.
It made me laugh during dead silent moments. And it's like, and that's the point. Like that's what the movie's trying to do, and it definitely works in that regard. It's like, that's why it's traveling. It's like, because we know that you're gonna get the best feeling out of this watching this with others and unlocking that inner kid, an experience that a lot of us I'll use Jeff's words, this generation didn't get that much as a.
You can say these damn kids, man. You can say it.
I refuse as a teacher. I refuse, but. We didn't really, like, not many people, especially those younger than me, they don't get the experience of just going to a movie theater filled with kids. It doesn't really happen that much anymore, except maybe the Minecraft movie kind of brought that back. I'm not going to give that movie any credit though. So yeah, it like
jockey.
really. Is that foreshadowing? Yeah, like this, it just works so well. Whereas in like that last 15 minutes of Sherlock Jr., we shut up. Like mouths were agape, just like, oh my God, like this is insane. But for the general, I think we had some other thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I've been avoiding this.
Yeah. Well, we got to talk about, because I think I kind of want to talk. I want to tie this into Hundreds of Beavers somehow, because I kind of joked earlier about like the whole pioneer thing, beaver genocide thing. But I remember like the first time I watched Hundreds of Beavers, I was sort of like, oh man, he really is killing like lots of wildlife. And I know like beavers were like almost hunted to extinction in a lot of like parts of North America, because they make great hats and stuff like that. Which made me feel, it didn't make me feel like dirty or anything, but I was like kind of wondering if like the movie was going to do like a switcheroo and kind of make John Kayak get his comeuppance for like killing hundreds of beavers. Spoiler. He basically destroys an entire population of beavers. Although I will say, in his defense, they were building a ziggurat. They kind of started it, yeah. They were building a ziggurat, basically the Tower of Babylon in the middle of the Wisconsin wilderness, which, if you read your Bible, I mean, the hubris, right? The hubris. They get stricken down by Jean Kayak. They also tried to build a rocket to go to the moon. So anyways, I was watching the movie the first time and I was sort of thinking, like, I wonder if they're going to do something with like this, like, because especially nowadays, people are so like environmentally aware. People have like, people don't want to see beavers get hunted to extinction and stuff. If you wear your synthetic furs nowadays, people are vegans.
These damn kids, anyway.
These damn kids. They don't do anything with it, which I almost feel like is an homage to like the silent era in like an unintentional way, where it's like so just like morally reckless, which is something that The General is, because it stars Buster Keaton as a Confederate. Well, he's not technically enlisted until the end, but he's working for the Confederates.
He wants to be a Confederate.
He really wants to be a Confederate.
Yeah.
Although, maybe just to impress his girlfriend, maybe he should get a different girlfriend if she wants him to defend the Southern institution, the peculiar institution of slavery. But The General. Jeff, Josh, take it away with explaining why we're rooting for a racist in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, Josh and I were talking beforehand about some of the things Keaton said about why he literally switched the historical accuracy of the sides and played the Confederate side up as the heroes. I mean, like...
Yeah. We when I was at the library today, I found a book on Keaton called Celebrating Keaton. It's a wonderful book. And yeah, like he was talking to this Union soldier, Pittenger, and his account was told from the northern point of view, but Buster switched it to the southern point of view for the film, and this is quoting from the book, as he felt, quote, "You can always make villains out of the northerners, but you cannot make a villain out of the south." I'm sorry, what? like I'm pretty sure you can, Buster.
Yeah. There were comments earlier when I said that he was an auteur. He also has that quote, Josh, where he's like talking about how the General is superior to Gone with the Wind.
He said he feels that the General is a better Civil War movie because for Gone with the Wind they went to a book, but with the General they went to history. It's like is this like is this like the title of a book for like, or a review like that you would see on like Fox News or something like that? It's like, Buster, what are you doing, man?
Yeah,
it makes it really tough to root for him. It makes it much easier to root for a guy committing genocide on a bunch of beavers. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely of its era. I mean, you have to think, like, the General comes out like what, less than a decade after
60 years after the end of the Civil War. Yeah.
Oh no, I was gonna say after the Birth of a Nation, which was like the big one, right? Like it caused the resurgence of the KKK. It was the first film to play at the White House under Wilson's administration. Mm-hmm. It was a big hit. D.W. Griffith was, huge, probably the biggest filmmaker at that time.
Right.
And you have this like mythology that starts kind of spreading about like the lost cause during the Civil War, the Southern lost cause, and the Southern sort of like the romanticism, like people being like, oh, they were chivalrous and everything was fine. The slaves were happy. They were happier when they were slaves because Reconstruction did kind of fail and all that stuff. But I think like his whole point about like the South being more sympathetic, I think he is tapping into like a very American tradition of we root for like the underdogs because that's like part of our own founding. Like our original, War of Independence was a rebellion against the British. And we love rebels. We love the underdogs. You look at the Civil War and, technically the Confederacy are, they're rebels. They were called rebels. They were underdogs. So there's like a certain, like, you can look at that and just go on vibes and be like, oh, I sympathize with them until you really think about it. And it's like, well, they were fighting for a way of life that was obviously dehumanizing and evil and cruel. Definitely of its time. Can't defend it. Won't defend it.
So it's a very well put way of saying you agree with the South here, Tristan.
It's one of those things. It's one of those things I had to put like just away while I'm watching the movie. I had to pretend because luckily there's no black actors in The General. There are no white actors in blackface in The General, which was common at the time. So it kind of skirts around that whole issue. It just doesn't even acknowledge it. To them, it's just like the Northerners are invading our country, our land, and we're going to fight back. And even the whole like train chase thing is brought about by like Northerners being like practicing like subterfuge, and they're basically dressed up as Confederates. They're like kind of doing a dishonorable thing, which is how I think Keaton is trying to turn the audience against the Northerners. They're also like wearing like makeup that makes them look kind of evil, like eyeshadow and stuff like that. So he's using all these tricks and he's skirting around the whole slavery thing, which I don't know. If you put Gone with the Wind up against The General, what comes out on top? I think The General does come out on top.
I'd agree with that
because it's more fun, and Gone with the Wind is really long. And also definitely apologizes for slavery like more explicitly. But like I said, I can't defend that aspect of The General, and I won't. And for a long time, I considered The General the best Buster Keaton movie. And I still think technically it has a lot of like really impressive sequences in it. But I think after this rewatch, I think Sherlock Jr. has pulled ahead.
Josh, on seeing Hundreds of Beavers once again.
Second time, somehow even better than the first. First, with a live crowd, it's even better somehow. Don't really know how this is possible, but that second half really picks up with the crowd, I tell you what.
I think we've successfully established our hard ticket for The General or Gone with the Wind. But unfortunately, that's not our matchup today.
I'm not participating in that one. Just do not pencil me in.
I think it might help us clarify our choice by going to the questions, if you all are ready to fire some questions our way.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Let's do it.
Josh, you want to go first?
Oh, I don't know if I should go first, but hey, why not? I will say this, folks. My questions came last because I did not know we did questions. So mine are pretty bottom of the barrel and very opinionated, I would say. Question number 1. I think we kind of addressed this. Is slapstick back?
It never left.
That's what I was thinking. How about you, Jeff?
Oh, I was thinking no, but yeah, sure.
Explain,
that's
sir. Explain. Tell me why you don't think
that's
slapstick
more optimistic.
is back.
I don't know. I mean, there's directors like what is it? Kiva Schaffer, who's doing
the Lonely Island.
I'd say David Leitch.
Yeah,
a bullet. Whether it's good or not, like Bullet Train relies on a lot of action slapstick.
I think that's fair.
I just support the it never left theory.
Yeah, I think all the
Absolutely.
Marvel movies, I think you could almost argue that a lot of them are kind of slapstick adjacent.
Yeah, there's definitely stuff in there that
I think the best before Hundreds of Beavers was like The Nice Guys. I think Ryan Gosling's performance in that is pure 1000% slapstick as he like stumbles through panes of glass and lands on cars, rolls perfectly off and gets a drink. It's just absolutely wonderful. If you haven't seen that, go online right now and look up action scenes in The Nice Guys and you'll see exactly what I mean.
Can we try to put a definition onto slapstick real quick? Just like,
go for it.
Well, no, I'm asking you guys.
Oh, you're asking me the question?
It's just like what? Physical comedy? Like,
physical comic. It's physicality totally done for laughs, but also like, how would I explain? Like, it's like laughing at a person falling down the stairs and you're supposed to be laughing at it.
Yeah.
It's pure like
almost an exaggerated kind of violence a little bit.
Yes.
Or telegraphed in a explicitly visual way, probably. I mean, this was the first year that we got a feature-length theatrical, fully animated Looney Tunes movie. So yeah, I would say slapstick is back on the menu if that's the question.
You just literally said no a minute ago, Jeff.
Okay,
so.
well,
Mr. Wishy-washy.
You guys changed my mind.
Oh, yeah. Wishy-washy it is. All right. Question number 2.
Whoa, Josh. Now, hold on. We trade questions.
Oh,
okay?
we trade.
Hold on, eager beaver.
So prop sale, you get to have one item from any of these 3 movies, one prop. Which one do you want to own?
The train. Oh wait, no. I want the 13 ball that explodes.
Oh, that's a good.
Yeah.
You want one that's like actually active?
Yeah, I don't know what I would use it for, but just in case,
I guess that's good.
Yeah, so in Sherlock Jr., there's a sequence where Sherlock Jr. plays billiards, which is amazing because he actually like does it in real time and does a bunch of trick shots and everything. And there's a 13 ball that the villains have replaced with a gag one that explodes. So they're trying to kill him if he hits the 13 ball, and he manages to never hit it despite the scratch ball going all around it. It's really impressive. It's really fun.
It's awesome.
But that would be the prop that I would want to own.
Yeah. Yeah. Josh, prop?
Oh boy. So prop for me, it's got to come out of Hundreds of Beavers because Tristan just took the best prop that we saw in either Buster Keaton. I'm not taking a train. I have nowhere to store that thing. But I would probably, not going to be very creative here, I would probably take the spittoon that says "The End."
Oh yeah,
from Hundreds of Beavers. Probably like a phenomenal reveal, just as it like slowly swivels around after finally getting spit in it.
That's a good one.
Thank you. How about you, Jeff? What would you take?
I want the picture of Buster Keaton standing in front of his train. That's at the
Picture of a
beginning
Confederate soldier in Jeff's household.
Okay, he wasn't a soldier at the time that the picture was taken, but he's just standing there like so small in the foreground with this massive train behind him. And of course, he's stoic in the face. And I think it's the funniest photo. And I think it would be an awesome thing to own.
It's a great choice.
All right. If you all had to make a silent film, what would be the premise?
That's a good question. Josh, do you have an answer?
So I want to do the cop-out answer and be like, I made one last year, or I was in one last year for a 48-hour film challenge, which I felt was just such a great premise that we as a team came up with. It was called I Have No Spoon and I Must Eat. And it is just simply spoons have gone missing and this guy wants to eat his bowl of cereal. No dialogue necessary. But that's already been made, so I don't think I can take that one. If I would make a silent film today, I would start very basic because this is actually something I've always wanted to make. It's just a guy who is late for work and everything that he runs into trying to get to work. You give him an hour, takes place in that hour, and every single possible thing that can go wrong. And you can go as outrageous with it as you can. And I think that basic sort of premise leads to just such a wide variety of things that can occur for me. Whereas if I try to make it such a narrowly specific thing, I feel like that kind of detriments the possibility a little bit, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I like that a lot. Mine is a narrowly specific thing, actually.
Go for it.
It's I actually had this idea back in college. I never made it because I didn't just sit down and write out all the possible gags, but I wanted to do some sort of short that was between two guys who had like stands set up in this office building, almost like lemonade stands, except one of them is selling paper clips. And then this other one comes in, sets up his stand, and he's selling staplers, and he steals all the customers from the paperclip guy. So they start getting into sort of a standoff and like trying to one up the other one and pull little pranks to sabotage the other's business. I still think about it every now and then. So this question triggered that idea.
I stand corrected. The narrowly specific ideas sound much better than the general ones.
Now, which one do you have, Tristan? Is it narrowly specific or is it more the general?
Oh, I didn't really think of anything. But I you could probably do something kind of interesting with like space, because it's in space, no one can hear you scream, so it's just all silent. It's like an astronaut movie. They're all on like the hull of a ship, and they're like communicating like with their like hands because like the comms went out, and that's all that happens.
Could make a good horror movie with that for sure.
Yeah, I'm scared already.
He's shaking.
All right, Josh, let's hear your second question.
All right. Moving on to a totally serious question here. Gentlemen, do you think the Beavers dodged a bullet with the way these tariffs are going?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the price of wood through the roof. Right?
Just got their entire, as you put it, ziggurat just destroyed, wiped out. Probably claim that insurance sort of thing, right?
Well,
Yeah.
but they're all dead, so
Well,
I guess they did. Actually, they're not dodging anything. They're all dead.
oh, man.
And you're making a joke about it. You're laughing about it right now. Hundreds of beavers are dead, and you're laughing.
Possibly thousands.
Possibly thousands.
We're not going to the movies. We're just going home.
We're going to the graveyard.
We got somebody sympathizing for the South, another person laughing about the mass genocide of animals. Like, we're a bunch of sickos.
Yeah, no, they couldn't dodge enough is the objective answer to that question. Okay, I've got a follow-up for you guys. Would you rather play baseball and hang out with Buster Keaton and crew offset, like apparently they did with a bunch of extras in the towns they were shooting at on, in between and after filming days? Or would you briefly record some green screen as an extra in a mascot suit for Mike Cheslick and be anonymously immortalized on film?
I am going to play with Buster Keaton, but I'm going to make him play basketball.
Why?
Because we're the same height, and I feel like I could take him, take his ass.
You're really hung up on this whole basketball thing.
Yeah. I really thought it said basketball. I must have just skimmed over it. I'd definitely play sports with Buster Keaton. He would beat my ass, actually, though, because he seems like a super athletic guy, and I don't have an athletic bone in my body. I was in marching band.
He seems kind of like a Michael Jordan type, where he takes it all seriously, and he
dunks on me.
Yeah, and he's just stoic the entire time. He's never expressive.
Never says a word.
Like, Buster, pass the rock, and he's like, "What?" Like, he doesn't even say anything. He just f***ing dunks on me.
What about you, Josh?
I would definitely film myself as an extra in Hundreds of Beavers, simply because I don't want to get dunked on by Buster Keaton. As
He doesn't dunk. He's playing.
You don't
know that.
You don't know that.
Oh my god.
Okay, I'm gonna go be one of those beavers that gets thrown through a window, or have a buzz saw go through my spinal column, and just have the time of my life as a guy behind me in the theater gives off a shriek, and that's the way I want to go out. Okay, that's how I want to be remembered in the books.
Okay.
How about you, buddy?
I'm kind of torn. I would love to play baseball with Buster Keaton just to say that's awesome. You know, I mean, that's a great time. He's one of the greats.
Some emphasis on that baseball there.
Right.
He'd still dunk on your ass though.
That would be very painful if he did that. But it would also be great to be in a mascot suit. I think I am going to be in one of the mascot suits. I think because I can watch the movie and be like, hey, look at that. That's me. That's me in there. You can't see it, but I know.
No one will believe you.
Let's do it now. Every time we go to a showing of Hundreds of Beavers, we're like, yeah, that's us.
That's me.
Prove me wrong.
Uncredited. Don't look for my name in the credits. Don't look. Yeah, that's my answer.
All right, my next question. What modern movie star would be ideal to star in a silent film and why? Jeff?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to say Tim Robinson.
Oh.
Very animated, very expressive. I think he can do the physical comedy really well.
It's like the one sketch in I Think You Should Leave where he's
the guy who you're trying to get to speak, and it just turns out a bunch of frats go there to heckle him the whole time.
Yeah.
It's exactly like that. I think he would be really good at it if you would kind of want to go the Hundreds of Beavers route where they're not stoic, they're super expressive.
Yeah, or more like the Charlie Chaplin kind of.
Right.
He wins the hearts and minds of America.
What about you, Josh?
I'm going to go the way of the chameleon actor himself, Robert Pattinson, who I think will step up to any challenge and do it with grace. And I think Mickey 17 definitely proved that he can do it.
Right. He can do anything.
He can do anything. He can even clone himself and be on screen twice as many times. I think he would just bring total, like, he would take it seriously. As ironic as that sounds, he would take that Keaton approach. Yeah, I feel, and give it absolutely everything. And he would do that deadpan look the whole time, and that would just make it even better. Whereas in Robinson, I love the Robinson choice. I feel like that falls more in line with like the Chaplin. It's like the man's just got a funny face. I'm sorry, Tim Robinson, if you're ever listening to this, it works for you, bud.
He's playing into it for sure. He's capitalized on that by now.
Absolutely. I mean, backup is always Bill Hader. I would also like Ryan Gosling's just way too overused nowadays. Too much overexposure. Love the guy. Ties back into nice guys conversation, but I'd go Pattinson.
I'm imagining Twilight remade as a silent film, like silent era, like 1920s, with Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson not speaking.
It would work.
I think it would work. I think I would like to watch it. Now I'm like, my dream cast is like, because I was trying to think of, my first thought was Tom Cruise. I was like, Tom Cruise, he's a stunt guy, makes sense. But now I'm like, Kristen Stewart could probably do it. But I think my actual answer would be Aubrey Plaza. I think I'd like to see her as like a Buster Keaton type. She's got an expressive stony face. Like it's like expressive without being like cartoonish. And also you just don't see enough. There's not like a ton of like famous like actresses from the silent era. You have like Gillian Gish and stuff like that, or Lillian Gish. Right. But in Mae West and stuff like that. But I'd love to see like Aubrey Plaza in that role. I think that would be kind of interesting.
Yeah. If you wanted to go the actress route, I think Winona Ryder would also make a good Chaplin style kind of expressive actor.
Yeah.
I mean, I just keep thinking of her face in
Stranger
Things when she's like her eyes are bugging out. I think it would translate. I think she could pull it off.
I could see that. Yeah,
for sure.
All right, Josh, it's time for you to ask the one question.
The one question that nobody's going to have a good answer to. Maybe Jeff, if he knows what this is. This one just sprung into my mind earlier. And I'm just going to ask it straight out. Where would you fit the Pet Shop Boys version of Always on My Mind into any of these movies?
For those of you who don't know, this song was Josh's, I think, most listened to song of the year All of Us Strangers came out. What year was it? Like
it was last year because thanks to the great Jake Taylor, give him a shout out here, he introduced me to this song, and now he absolutely hates that he introduced me to this song. As it can fit. It's almost like your Walk of Life project, where I see some people trying to insert Born to Run into everything. But this doesn't just work at endings. This can fit into almost any scene.
It can, and I think it would really work to a shot of the general itself chugging along the tracks while Buster Keaton is throwing fire into it, or wood into the fire. I mean, like, you know, he's doing it to save his fair lady. So it's almost thematically connective.
Tristan hates this question because he's never heard this song.
I've never heard this song. Is this a cover of that like Chicago song, or?
It's a cover of the Elvis Presley, Willie Nelson song.
Oh, never heard of him.
So give me a scene there, Tristan, that it would work.
Probably the scene where the train goes off the bridge.
Oh wow,
is that right?
Is
that right?
You do you, man. You do you.
You could put a good hit in there, I think.
Okay.
I think it would fit in
means.
well with maybe the fight scene, the bar fight scene between Applejack and or Kayak and the Beavers.
I love really that scene.
That's so funny. When he punches the beaver's head off and it's like a human skull underneath. I was cackling in the theater.
Forgot it happened to the point where I screamed, "Oh my god!"
Yeah.
In the theater.
That scene, it's so dusty. It's all practical on location. Like, I feel the weight of it so much. Every single hit, just throwing each other across the room. Yeah, that would be a great inclusion. I think that would really work.
Thank you. But yeah, I mean, oh god, that scene. Now I just want to go watch that scene because it also reminds me this theater. Should we also mention like that they showed like 35mm prints of like what inspired Hundreds of Beavers beforehand, because there were two, like, and that made me like appreciate the movie even more because I saw those influences and it was wearing them on its sleeve between what were the
it was the Road Warrior and it was Top Secret, especially Top Secret. The Road Warrior I thought was maybe a little bit of a stretch, but the Top Secret influence is immense. Like, it's absolutely felt throughout.
Yeah, because if you haven't seen Top Secret, like that scene that we were just describing in Hundreds of Beavers, which now someone needs to layer over always on my mind with, there's a phenomenal scene in Top Secret where there is an entire like saloon brawl shot entirely underwater. Like there are just cowboys sitting at a bar and everything underwater watching like Val Kilmer like wind up a punch, look over there and step on a guy's foot underwater. There's like a beer bottle broken over a guy's head underwater. Look it up. It's outstanding. But yeah.
Okay. My next question is, what would be some key differences if Buster Keaton tackled the script for Hundreds of Beavers? Because there was one big one in my mind that stood out, but I'm curious where your guys' heads are.
Yeah, Jean Kayak would be a Confederate soldier.
Yeah, you took mine.
No.
No, I don't know. I mean, it would be less cartoon. All the stunts that I can't remember the guy's name. Twos, is that his last name?
Yeah, Twos.
All the stunts that he does, like climbing up the tree, and it's like animated to look like he's a Mario character. Yeah. Like Buster Keaton would do that. He would scamper up that tree like a rat. Right? Rats scamper up trees, right?
They scamper, yeah. I mean, maybe like a squirrel. I don't know.
Or a rat. Maybe I don't. That's fine.
No, it definitely would be more practical. Josh, what do you think?
Oh God, that was such a perfect answer there.
Thanks, dude.
It's pretty good. I want to say, well, first off, there definitely wouldn't be like any grunting. Anything like that, or any screaming, or like a good old, and we can bleep this out, like a good old classic like moment that made me cackle. I would say it would be less absurd.
Yeah,
I would say, which
it would be.
I don't know if it would work then. It would be played straight, which makes it usually funnier in Keaton's case, but this is just so absurd that it goes over the line and almost like comes right up to it again.
Yeah.
It's like this thing went the whole way around the world and ended up right before the line again somehow.
I think that the big thing I was thinking is that he would use real animals, so there wouldn't be any of the like mascot costumes. And you're right, it would make it less absurd. It would.
He loved working with animals, except for those lions and Sherlock Jr.
Right. Yeah, and I think those costumes just add so much to it. It's got to be Cheslick's movie. It just does. It's great.
It just works.
All right. Write one line of dialogue for Buster Keaton in either Sherlock Jr. or The General. When does he deliver it?
The South will rise again.
Right in the middle of Sherlock Jr., right, Jeff?
There you go. Yeah. Uncounted.
I think you could actually put a line at the end of Sherlock Jr. where he says something is just elementary, my dear, or something. Just play into the direct references to Sherlock Holmes, because besides just the detective angle and the name Sherlock Jr., like we can really drive it home with something like that.
Josh?
I tried wrapping my brain around this and trying to come up with like a stupid, silly one-liner, funny answer. But the movies just work so perfectly without words that I could not come up with a damn thing that wasn't just totally, absolutely juvenile or stupid.
That's a great answer. That's a great, and it's super mature. What I would have him do is say, "They're right behind me, aren't they?" When he's on the train, the Union's following behind him.
You'd have him do a big gulp.
Yeah. He does the Tom scream from Tom and Jerry when he falls.
The train's going like through the bridge. You just hear a good old Goofy yell.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Really great answer.
All right, I think we are done with questions, which means that there's only one more question that we have to answer, which is, gentlemen, we have a hard ticket to choose, and I think I want to go to Josh first.
Yes.
Josh, I want to know what your hard ticket. Are you going to go to the Buster Keaton film block, watch Sherlock Jr. and The General, or are you going to go watch Hundreds of Beavers?
Hundreds of Beavers, no doubt.
Wow.
1,000%. Not a second thought. And I think it definitely has the advantage of I've seen it in a theater, and I wanted to watch it with that crowd immediately right again after that. Whereas in my second time seeing Sherlock Jr. and The General, I think my opinions of Sherlock Jr. did go up, and my ones of The General went down. But I'd have a hell of a lot more fun with Hundreds of Beavers, where I can appreciate a lot of the stuff in that Keaton block a lot more. But I want to have fun, so I'm going Hundreds of Beavers.
That's
fair. Yeah, that's a really good answer. Really good logic. I will say this. I love movies that are send-ups of genres. Edgar Wright's one of my favorite directors. Shaun of the Dead, especially Hot Fuzz. They draw inspiration from so many movies of the genre, and they couldn't exist without them. But I have so much fun watching them. Hundreds of Beavers, I thought was going to be an instance like that, but having not seen any Keaton movies until this past week and being so impressed by all the technical work, by all the stunt work, by the cinematography too, and all of his performances and just everything about them, I have to watch them again. I would really like to see them again because I can only see my appreciation for them going up versus something like Hundreds of Beavers, which I could still watch hundreds of times and enjoy every single time. But I think I'm leaning more towards the classics in this instance.
Jeff goes for the classics. I had a hard time with this one. I thought I definitely knew what I was going to pick before going in. And after watching Hundreds of Beavers with an audience, I was in ecstasy. It's so fun. I really love Hundreds of Beavers. It's a great, fun movie. I could recommend it to anybody, literally anybody. Jeff, you were saying, or Josh, I can't remember. One of you all said that you wanted to show your grandma. I could show my grandma Hundreds of Beavers. I actually recommended it to my grandma, who's like 70. So I feel like anybody can watch it and appreciate it. You can show it to a 2-year-old and they'd appreciate it up until like the pole dancing scene.
Yeah. I thought about that.
Yeah. But I have to go with Buster Keaton because for one, he started it all. You have to pay your respects to the master of it. And also there's more in those movies, especially Sherlock Jr., where I'm watching it and I'm like, how? Like 100 years later, a century of filmmaking later, and I'm still looking at it and I'm like, how? Yeah. How did he do that?
Leaping into the briefcase.
The briefcase thing, walking into a theater screen. It feels like, and I think there was like a quote from like a critic who was like, it finally feels like somebody gets it, like filmmaking wise, like someone finally gets why we're doing this whole thing. And it feels like Keaton kind of cracked the code, especially Sherlock Jr. I think now, like I was saying earlier, it sits on top of his filmography for me. And I've seen a lot of Keaton, but yeah, Sherlock Jr. And if you haven't seen Buster Keaton, if you haven't seen any Buster Keaton, watch Sherlock Jr. It's 45 minutes. It's going to be on YouTube because it's in the public domain now. Watch it. And just, if you don't like it, if you don't like Buster Keaton after that, then you don't have to watch anymore. But you should definitely watch that movie. You owe it to yourself, especially if you've never seen a silent film, to watch Buster Keaton at least once in your life. And then watch Hundreds of Beavers, because I would recommend it to anybody. Yeah, and I do think that watching a Buster Keaton movie makes people appreciate Hundreds of Beavers more. Knowing a lot of those influences, definitely, it can't detract from your viewing experience. That's for sure. But that's going to do it for us on this episode of Hard Ticket. Thank you guys for listening. Josh, thanks for joining us this week.
Thank you guys for having me.
Of course. Yeah, we are always happy to have you on here. Thank you to Aaron Griffin for mixing and mastering our title track sung by me in a truly awful falsetto. Thank you, Jared Tadlock, for designing our brand elements and keeping our podcast looking fresh. And follow us on Instagram and Blue Sky at Hard Ticket Pod. That's all lowercase, all one word, Hard Ticket Pod. You could follow me on Letterboxd at Jeff Bloggus. That's JEFFBLOGGESS. Where can people follow you guys?
People can follow me on Letterboxd at Tristan M, and you can follow me on Instagram at Tristan_less.
You can follow me on Letterboxd at Joshy Brown. That's just JOSHYBROWN. Haven't changed that since middle school. And yeah, I think that's all I'll say you can follow me on today.
That's good. That's good.
Have you been on Letterboxd since middle school, Josh?
No, it's just my email, but that is my Instagram handle. I'll put that out there as well. That one I have been on since.
I was going to say, I am old. I've been on Letterboxd I've been on since 2018, but I was in college back then. Right. I know there's a little bit of an age gap between.
I was in 10th grade in 2018, so. The old man.
So anyway, give us a follow and keep up with whatever movies we'll be watching. Join us next week for our special 10th episode premise that we'll keep under wraps for the moment, but we promise a good show for you. Until then, though, we will see you at the movies.
Bye!
Bye!
Hee hee!
This is Jeffrey Bogus live at the Harris Theater for 35mm Fest. Thank you for listening and watching hundreds, maybe even thousands of beavers.
It's a hard ticket at the movies. Which one will you watch? Let's decide.